Alright everyone, it's your first day at the Fortnite Bootcamp. We're gonna toughen you up with all the essential knowledge you need to get that dub. We got fighting tips, building strategies, and once you've mastered the basics, we've even got some map codes you'll need to go from absolute noob to a battle-ready pro. You all know the drill. This is Fortnite. 100 players drop, but only one can get that victory royale. Here you go, King. You drop this. You got 3 different modes: creative, no builds, and battle royale. You also have one more mode that comes and goes whenever it wants: Battle Labs. Creative is for players who want to play, create, or train on a variety of different game modes, ranging from simulations to casual fun. No builds is all the fun of Battle Royale, with a few changes in the loot, as well as the inability to crank 90s or do any of that crazy stuff. It's simplified Fortnite. Battle Labs is not always around, but when it is, it's a simulation of the island that lets you explore it at ease or try out some of the new items in a larger setting. Think of it as free play.
We're excited to announce our new weekly to bi-weekly giveaway. To reward our loyal subscribers, we're announcing a 5,000 V-Buck giveaway. To enter, you must be an existing or new subscriber. Just click on the link below and drop your username in the pinned comment.
There are 3 distinct stages in a single match of Fortnite: the early game, mid game, and late game. Let's go over them quickly. Early game encompasses you choosing your landing spot, dropping, looting, and fighting off any players that landed near you. Mid game is when players try to keep up with the storm as it gets smaller. You'll be choosing augments, picking off players for eliminations, and upgrading your current inventory with better loot. Finally, late game is when the storm closes in, pushing the remaining players into a close quarters match. If you're playing casual, this is when most matches end due to proximity. However, if you're in a more competitive playlist, the late game will continue and you'll start build battling, fighting for high ground, and trying to stay out of the storm as it starts to move around. It's a tough job, but you'll get the hang of it. Question of the day: what's the part of Fortnite you're having the most trouble with? And what is a challenge you overcame and how? Help a player out by leaving answers in the comments down below. There's a variety of different weapons and items in Fortnite. We got your standard SMGs and ARs, but there's also a lot of crazy weapons that come and go each season, like the boom sniper, kinetic swords, bows, goo guns, and plenty of promotional collab weapons that go way too hard. So let's focus on the basics. Shotguns are your one-way ticket towards a quick elimination. Great for taking a chunk out of your opponent's health in one shot, making it ideal for build battles when you only have a fraction of a second to respond to an opening. SMGs are the build breakers in the game. Their fast fire rate rips through your opponent's health if you stay on target, and if you time it right, you can punch through a wall and still have ammo left to barrage your opponent once the wall comes down. Quick tip: smack enemy walls with your pickaxe first, then go in for the SMG. ARs are the medium to long range heavy hitters. Depending on your distance, you're gonna wanna go for that first shot accuracy to start any fight. Then switch over to your other weapons depending on how close your opponent gets to you after engaging. So here are 3 tactics you need to know to start fighting. Like we mentioned before, an AR is great for that first shot accuracy. Aiming for the head while your opponent isn't aware of your presence and getting that damage multiplier is a great way to start a beam. You might even break their shield. Once their shield is broken, your opponent will most likely go on the defensive, allowing you to close in. Now, if you're coming in from a first-person shooter, then you need to master the right-hand peek. Fortnite, being a third-person shooter, allows you to get a better angle on your opponent from the right side. You'll be able to see and aim at your opponent, but your opponent won't be able to see you. But most importantly, because building is a core part of the game, the right-hand peek is always useful when putting up walls, setting up edits, and finishing a long build battle. Finally, if you know your opponent is way above your league, don't feel pressured to fight. If you can retreat, do so. Also, be sure to check what rotational items are out during the season, such as shockwave grenades, grapples, kinetic blades, or more. So here are some important builds you'll need to start learning going into Fortnite. Your basic wall and ramp are possibly the most important beginner builds. They're basic, so easier to remember and perform their function well enough. Walls block damage, and ramps will help you get to a higher ground when your jumps and mantles aren't enough. Cones and floors are best used when combined with other builds, and the most basic combo is the box. Boxes shield you from damage from all directions, but they also have other functions as well. A good box can slow your opponents down during a fight, cause them to waste ammo, and can be used as a way to move in any direction while keeping your opponent guessing. Putting a cone in a box creates more angles to hide in and allows you to edit a way up. You can use floors when trying to edit a peek when you're on top of an opponent's box. A great piece control option depending on your angle. Before we move on, let's go over a quick overview of materials. Now, even if you're already familiar with this, do you know how pros use them effectively? Now, during every match, unless you're playing zero builds, you're gonna be harvesting mats so you can make your builds. There are 3 distinct material types: wood, stone, and steel. Now, wood is the most commonly used material type. It's easy to collect in bulk, quick to set up, and because of this, becomes the perfect target for build techniques that take up a lot of mats. These techniques include cranking 90s, piece control, and ramping. One of the best benefits you need to know is that wood is see-through. This way, you can get protection, but still keep an eye on your opponent. Stone is ideal for boxing up. It takes slightly longer to get set up, however, once it reaches full health, it buys you time to patch up or figure out what loot to swap out if you're looting out in the open. Stone is the second most common material to find on the island, and if you know where to look, you can fill up fast. Check boulders and rocks since these give you plenty per structure. Finally, steel is by far the rarest of the mats. Unlike wood and stone, which can be abundant if you know where to look, steel takes time and patience to gather in large quantities. Because of this, you won't be using it as often, but can provide some benefits. For starters, steel is the toughest material, so at full health, it can really set your opponents back and make it hard for them to see behind a wall. However, the starting health for steel walls makes it really easy to take down if your opponent gets a head start. So now let's talk edits. Edits require a bit more precision than builds. When you pull out your blueprints, you can start to edit any build with a 3x3 grid. Punch in the right combination and you get a variant of the build you placed. Let's take a look at it in action. Here is a regular wall. We're gonna pull out our blueprints and remove the center square. Now we have ourselves a window edit. You can use these for peaks when you claim a wall. Now let's remove the square underneath it as well. This gives us a door, which can be a great way to exit your box without removing any of the 4 walls. If you select the 4 squares on the bottom left or right, you'll make a left or right hand edit. You can use these to get through walls faster than taking them down. You may be asking, well, why would I want to put a wall down? Well, you're gonna be cranking 90s eventually, and you're going to be doing other high wall tricks that require you to make wall edits. Don't forget to click on the link below and find out how you can get gameplay feedback and advice from a pro coach. Alright, so let's get down to work. Here are the best creative modes that you need to use to improve. We got some basic essentials and then some map codes that'll really get those mechanics at 100. Building is about knowing which key or button places which build. The best way to do this is through free building on creative. Build ramps to ascend and floors to create walkways, place cones and create boxes until you've memorized them all. Now you'll have a much easier time boxing up and cutting off your opponent. 1v1 maps are great for fast-paced and repetitive fighting. Get used to going up against an opponent without having to restart the entire match just to get back in the zone. This mode will also help you learn to use your builds in the heat of combat. Editing will become the key to victory as you improve. Using Raider's edit practice map, you can run through a variety of different scenarios that'll train your decision-making skills. Think fast, make the edit, and train that muscle memory till the edits become instinct. This map has a variety of different scenarios you and a friend can practice on. One scenario in particular will help you take down enemies mid-air. Another scenario beefs up both players with plenty of health and traps them in a box. This scenario will train you to keep your accuracy while firing a weapon. Alright, the bus is nearing the island now. Get ready to deploy and go get that dub. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll get back to you next time. Peace.